Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. Appreciate you taking that time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. But let's get into it. So, the year is 1995. And I'm going over to one of my friend's house. His name is Mike. And he tells me he has a game that is a Bruce Lee game. Now, the only game that I knew about that even came close to being a martial arts game was Kung Fu on the NES. And that was like us pretending it was Karate Kid because we didn't know Karate Kid had a game. And years later, I played the Karate Kid game and I was better off because of not playing it. So I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever, sure. You know, it's probably going to be like, you know, something where it's like Fei Long and Street Fighter. Because, you know, in the 90s, we all grew up on martial arts movies and there was the king, it was Bruce Lee, and there was never really anything out that we knew of that really showcased Bruce Lee unless you got it from other games. Like I said, Fei Long and Street Fighter is always the prime example. He gave us Bruce Lee because we couldn't get Bruce Lee in the game, right? So I checked this game out and he puts it in and I'm like, how's it? You said it's two players, but it's Bruce Lee. How we both gonna be Bruce Lee? But you certainly can. In fact, you can have up to 3 Bruce Lees fighting with you if you want to. And this is Dragon, a Bruce Lee story. And I don't know many people who've played this game, but everybody I know who's played it has enjoyed it. It's not the most, you know, in-depth fighting game, right? It's like a beat 'em up, but it's a one-on-one fighter, sometimes one-on-two. And you got all these different moves that Bruce Lee can do, and the game tells you nothing. It just tells you to go play. And I really like it. I always was amazed at how fluid and smooth the gameplay is and how good Bruce Lee controls. Because again, we have no frame of reference. There's no real good martial arts game. You know, there's beat 'em ups, but those beat 'em ups are usually, you know, mash the button, you know, punch, punch, punch combos that automatically happen. And this game was more like, you know, 1 or 2 strikes and a lot of like figuring out distance and what the strike is best for this situation versus that situation. It's kind of like the precursor to like footsies and stuff in these fighting games. But you know, you're playing against the computer and it can be difficult, very easy. The game does not pull punches, and sometimes the game likes to surround you and it is very tough to deal with. But it's got like basic fighting game inputs, like if you hold away from your opponents, you block, right? You got downed attacks, which I thought was always cool. You could do the Bruce Lee stomp, which you probably should do it every time you can. Otherwise, you probably are not going to win the rounds because it's a tough game, right? The enemies can fight just as well as you can, and they will. You know, you might start getting a little too excited, and next thing you know, you're getting put in a combo, and now you on the ground getting stomped out. It can happen very fast. The other cool thing is you have like this meter that fills up. So on the first level, when you fill it up, you can start going into your fighter stance and you get like a lot of speed attacks. Punches real fast, kicks real fast, does more damage, real cool. But if you get it up to another notch, then you get to take it up to another level. You pull out the nunchakus and they do a lot of damage. That meter is also very small, so you don't get a lot of nunchuck action because it would kind of be overpowered if you could. You get a lot more reach and you get the combos you can do real fast and take a lot of life off. But you fight a lot of different enemies. Like, it's not a super deep cast. It's not like 30 different characters or anything like that. It's about a dozen different characters you fight. They all have their own moves though. They fight differently. Some of them have weapons, some of them don't. Some of them get mad and leave halfway through the fight because they getting whooped, so they bring out their twin brother, you know, things like that. And it can get tough. You can get overwhelmed really easy, and you get 3 lives. And also another cool thing about this game is if you die 3 times, you have to fight this demon that's, you know, supposedly going to try to kill all the Bruce Lee's family members. So you got to fight the demon. If you beat the demon, you get another continue. But if you don't, you know, it's game over. And I'll be honest with you, I never beat the demon. So pretty much when it was time after my 3 lives were out, I just reset the game because I knew what was going to happen. It's a real tough fight. So, but years later, I ended up playing the game and beating it. You know, I might have saved a state or 2, but I did what was necessary to get the W. And you know, I don't feel bad about it. I want to be the dragon, and I feel like the dragon would have used all his resources available, and that includes save states. So I did it. But yeah, it's really cool. It has a 3-player mode, which I never got to do because I didn't know anybody back then, I've never met anybody now who had a multi-tap for the Super Nintendo. I had one for the NES, but never for the Super Nintendo. I never even seen one in a while. But technically, you can have 3 players. If you've heard of this game and you've enjoyed it or you didn't enjoy it, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your stories about this game. I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's very different. And honestly, it's probably the best Bruce Lee game I've ever played. I know that's not saying a lot based on the number and quality of Bruce Lee games that were created, but I still feel like it's something, to hold its hat on. And I would love to see them do something else with with Bruce Lee's legacy in a game, not just like adding him into a UFC game or something weird like that, but actually like something that goes through a story, or even if it's just a game based on the movies and you just play different versions of him in these movies, that would be really cool. And if that game comes out, you heard it here first, so I would like some sort of something on the back end for that. But as always, I appreciate you taking our time to check out this video. Y'all be safe, have fun, peace.